Okay, so this is a little bit of a departure from what we've been doing lately. We're gonna go back and do a silly list. There's Naruto, spoilers. And we're gonna talk about who has the most emotional intelligence. Let's begin with Naruto. Um, I think I would loosely define emotional intelligence as sort of like coming to terms with all your trauma and things like that, sort of, not tucking it away, but rather like having worked through it. Um, and I guess being aware of where your feelings come from and stuff like that. I guess being aware of yourself emotionally. Now, Naruto's he's the happy-go-lucky shonen boy. He's the shonen hero, and I think shonen heroes are sort of defined by their, I don't know if it's a lack of emotional intelligence, but it's definitely like a very surface level kind of like optimism, right? We don't really see Naruto grapple with things like we do at the very beginning of the comic when he's sitting on the swing. Yep, he's sad on the swing, and that's when he's sad because he's lonely. But like, when do we see Naruto go through emotional struggles? Like, you know, there are moments when he's a kid where he's like, yeah, I'm never going to give up again. And he stabs his hand or whatever. Or he's sad for Haku and Zabuza, like really early on. And you see him get a bit choked up. But we don't really ever see him have a quiet moment where like there isn't action happening and where he's just like, man, I've seen a lot of people die as a child. That's really fucked up. We never get like a Naruto in therapy moment, you know? It's maybe not the direction the shonen comic was ever going to go. But I don't feel like Naruto has any moments of like quiet reflection. He when he runs into Sasuke after Sasuke is like a full-blown criminal, he has a moment with him where he's kind of like, yeah, we talk by fighting. We sort of express emotions by fighting. And, that sort of gives him insight, unspoken insight into Sasuke, he thinks. And he's like, we're going to die if we fight each other. And that's what he says. I guess that's his sort of emotional insight. Um, but that's the shonen way, right? It's like you look deep inside yourself and learn about yourself by punching your best friend in the face. And I feel like that is the level of emotional maturity that Naruto has. He has punch your best friend in the face levels of emotional maturity. And Hinata's not much better. um, I guess her thing is that she likes Naruto, but she's shy and she denies it. And I think that is a form of like emotional repression or whatever. And she does sort of overcome that in a moment, in a very heightened moment of danger and emotion when she's trying to save Naruto from pain and she says that she loves him. You know what though? Because after that, Naruto immediately forgets that it ever happened and never brings it up. And Hinata never brings it up again. I would say that's kind of a lack of emotional maturity though. Like, she does have one moment where she's like, I love Naruto, I'm going to protect him. She gets hurt. Naruto goes nine tails. Whatever. The pain fight continues. But the fact that Hinata never like goes over to Naruto and is like, "Hey, so can we talk about what happened when Pain invaded the Leaf? Um, when I said I love you, how did that how did that make you feel?" She just completely ignores it, and I think she kind of just like represses herself again. Um, and she doesn't really seem to have the confidence to like go up and initiate anything with Naruto again after that point of like heightened danger and probably a very adrenaline filled moment where she makes her confession in front of the destroyed Hidden Leaf. So yeah, I don't really think Hinata has much of an emotional arc. Maybe that's good for Naruto. Maybe that's good that they get together in the end because they're both a little emotionally flat. They're very surface level people, you know. What can you say? Ebisu. Wow, Ebisu. It's probably Ebisu. Um, You know, does he have emotional maturity? This guy is a teacher. He's a special Jonin. He excels at teaching. Um, Teachers do need to be emotionally mature. They need to take stock of their mistakes, especially, and they need to do a lot of reflection in order to like grow and become better at teaching. It's hard to believe this guy is a good teacher because what we see of him, we kind of just get him as like a gag character. I mean, he doesn't really teach Naruto because Naruto kind of ignores him. Um, I guess he does teach Konohamaru, and I mean, fuck Boruto, but I guess Konohamaru becomes a Jonin, and that is a good sign if Ibizu is his teacher. The Jonins are very rare. It's very rare for a ninja to attain the level of elite ninja, right? This is a select few can only do this. So it's definitely a feather in Ibisu's cap if Konohamaru canonically becomes a Jonin. That doesn't really, you know, that doesn't really say anything about his emotional maturity. I mean, he gets he gets a bloody nose when he sees hot girls. When Naruto does his hot girl, his sexy transformation, you know, Ibisu does the blood squirts out from his nose and he falls backwards. He collapses. Um, I guess they say that he is a closet pervert, or that's maybe one of the jokes Naruto makes about him. Um, I don't know if that has any bearing on his emotional maturity. I guess he's sort of like emotionally immature in that sense, but we don't really see too much of his inner life. Oh baby, here's an SP, a super pretty Shikamaru. That's nice. And hey, it's not a special portrait after all this time of Shikamaru because apart from one leg, his whole body is in the shot, and he's even doing an action pose. Even though we don't see the background, we don't really see where he's fighting. He's doing an action pose, baby. So this is our first kind of like unusual, almost full body special portrait. It is, it is still cut off like a little picture frame. Um, that's neat. We certainly don't have that. That is a beaut. You know what? This is great because I think Shikamaru is the series's biggest example of a character who goes through emotional growth. And I think they dwell on it even a little bit more in the anime, in a rare example of something that might even be done better in the anime than in the manga. It is a true emotional character arc. We see Shikamaru in the dumps, down in the dumps. And the best part is we do kind of see him go through stages of grief. Like he's kind of in denial at the beginning. He's just like dead inside. He's playing shogi with his dad. He's just like sitting on rooftops doing nothing. And it seems like he is kind of in the stage of denial, about Asuma's death. And he has an angry breakdown with his father. He finally sort of like lets his emotions out. You don't get it, you don't understand what I'm going through, and he takes it out on his dad, which is good. And his dad, Shikaku, sort of intentionally is there, I think, for Shikamaru, knowing that he needs to have this breakthrough moment. And he goes through his grief, right? He cries, he mourns for Asuma, and then he sort of like gets the gumption finally when he has like this breakthrough, to go to Ino, to go to Choji, to be like, okay, we're going through this. We're going through this emotional moment. We owe it to Asuma to get it together. I've got a strategy. We're going after the Akatsuki. We're going after those motherfuckers, and we're gonna take them out on behalf of Asuma. We're gonna avenge Asuma. And there is another nice emotional moment when he does win. When Shikamaru sends Hidan's head down into the pit in the forest, and I think this is maybe an anime manga difference, because he has a very stylish sort of finishing move on Hidan. I think he covers him. He sets up a situation where Hidan is like covered in exploding tags. And then this may differ between comic and show, but I think he throws Asuma's lighter at Hidan in one of those versions. So he takes his memento of Asuma and he uses it to absolutely cataclysmically blow the ever-loving shit out of Hidan, to the point where I think only his head is left or something. His head is certainly disconnected from his body. And it's a great shot. It's a great either panel or anime frame where he just like casually tosses the lighter, and he sort of gets Asuma indirectly to sort of kill Hidan through through using his own lighter, in this final act of sort of revenge and fulfillment and moving on, I guess, because it's still a nice moment after that where Shikamaru lights up Asuma's ghost blunt. I think we see that in the anime. It's like Shikamaru takes up smoking, which is really funny. I think that's what the difference is. In the manga, he actually like smokes the cigarette, and in the anime, he holds up the lighter and he lights the imaginary sort of ghost cigarette of Ghost Asuma, who he's imagining is beside him. So he like lights up Asuma's cigarette for him one last time, basically. And I think in the manga, he lights up his own cigarette, like he's sort of taken up smoking, which is maybe not good, but is certainly heartfelt as an emotional gesture. In a way, I assume he connects with Asuma through that. So Shikamaru's got the best emotional arc in the show. I don't think that's an outlandish thing to say. Certainly, if there's anything to watch anime-wise, Shikamaru grieving is probably the best thing. I think it's probably the best thing you can see in the anime. It's not... I read the whole manga, actually. I don't know if I ever said this, but I only know Naruto from reading the whole manga. I never really watched any of the anime. I would sometimes see clips and see cool fights and stuff, but I never really watched the anime. I saw the first 2 episodes as a kid in the English dub, and I thought, this is ridiculous. The English voices are terrible. I'm never watching this. The comic is great. So besides, like... a couple Madara fights, I think Shikamaru is king for the anime. Oh baby, I love the HR cards. I love the sideways HR cards, and this has got to be one of the coolest ones. It's going towards the front of my best cards deck because holy fuck. And this is an interesting one, right? Because like we're sort of sold Kakashi and Obito as an emotional development. I don't know why this HR is showing up so clearly on my recording. I feel like usually there's a lot of overlap between the two and it kind of comes up all blurry like you're seeing both images, but this one is crystal clear for some reason. Maybe I've got it at a good angle, but it looks really good. Anyway, we're kind of sold this character relationship as an emotional arc. We don't spend the same time, like we don't see Kakashi go through this the way we see Shikamaru go through his moment emotionally. There are moments we see Kakashi have to punch Rin through the heart. We see Obito get really sad. We see him sort of commit to darkness. Kakashi is an interesting one because he seems like he would be a bit dead inside, right? He's lost everybody. His teacher is dead. Rin is dead. As far as he knows, Obito is dead. And then later, Obito is seeking the demise of the world, more or less. So he's pretty much lost everyone who was important to him. His father is dead. And he doesn't seem to have any other living family or friends. He tells Sasuke, everybody that I love is already dead. Which is pretty sad. I would sort of be inclined to believe that Kakashi has kind of died a little bit inside from those losses. I mean, he sort of carried a positive philosophy forward, which is that bonds are really important, and you should put your bonds of friendship above everything else, which is nice, and you can see why he would think that because he has nobody left. Um, I want, yeah, I wonder if Kakashi does feel close with anybody. I assume he does sort of have bonds with his students a little bit, certainly with Naruto. As we see Kakashi training with Naruto, and we see Kakashi sort of pick Naruto up several times, like literally to carry him while he's tired, and that's kind of a nice moment, right? Like Naruto doesn't have a father, Kakashi doesn't have a son or brother or father or anybody, so I think we are sort of led to believe that they do have a genuine connection. But we don't really see Kakashi form a genuine connection with many other people. He's certainly friends with Guy, but Guy seems more like a work friend. if 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 I'm allowed to say that, maybe that's unfair to Guy. He does seem like a work friend to me, to for Kakashi, and like they are good friends, and they would hang out and stuff. But I don't think Kakashi would sort of like talk about his vulnerable moments in his life with Guy. I think Guy is more of like uh, certainly a funny, jokey rival character, and yeah, I guess someone Kakashi kind of has this funny relationship with, but I don't think his friendship with Guy is like super deep. Um, maybe the fandom will come for me. Maybe they'll be after me. I don't think there's much to say about Obito. I mean, he lives a tragic life. We see him go through tragedy, and he deals with it by trying to rewrite reality. I mean, the whole plot, the whole infinite Tsukiyomi plot is that he's going to see Rin again because he will be in the dream, right? Obito never makes it past the stage of denial, I guess, in terms of grief, I think. Or maybe bargaining, maybe a better representation of what Obito is doing is bargaining. He's trying to, enact this ludicrous plan to seal the Ten Tails into himself or into Madara or something, and put everyone under a genjutsu and enter into this dream and see Rin again. And I think it's fair to say that Obito is a bit emotionally stunted. He did die as a child. He did get uh, hopelessly traumatized as a child, and then he came back to life. He was resuscitated. He watched his best friend kill his other best friend and love interest, and Madara sort of like corrupted his philosophy, I guess. So I think it's fair to say Obito is a bit emotionally stunted. It's I think it's a more interesting question to ask: is Kakashi emotionally stunted? Is he totally dead inside from everything that's happened? The series seems to imply no, this is not the case. I wouldn't say Kakashi's in a great place emotionally, or that it's easy for him to be vulnerable or something. But uh, I think we are to led to believe from the series, with his connection with Naruto at the very least, that he is able to form bonds, and he is able to sort of like go past his trauma. I guess that ended up being a pretty serious episode. I was kind of approaching it as like a jokey topic about, how emotionally mature is Choji or whatever, like, oh, he loves chips, whatever. But I guess we got some pretty serious characters. Like, we have the baseline, the kind of emotionally flat Naruto and Hinata, and I guess Ibizu is kind of like a gag character, and then like the biggest emotional pull, and maybe the second biggest emotional pulls of the series to talk about. So that was great, and we got some great cards. A beautiful HR on portrait. Is that no landscape? Landscape? I forget. Anyway, a beautiful HR, a beautiful SP, a beautiful special portrait. We're going with that. All right. Well, I hope you can emotionally grow and mature, and have a good night.